Hi, I will do a quick demonstration of version 2 of Peek. So the very first page that we have here is a portfolio page, which gives you a balance sheet view of your total net worth, which includes assets as well as liabilities. Now, to add in assets into your Peek account, what you'll do is press Add New, which will then take you to this page, which will allow you to either add your accounts based on an automatic connection, which is through our APIs to a few thousand different accounts. Manual import, which you can then add individual stock tickers as an example, which then actually gets tracked. The price actually gets tracked as long as the quantity stays the same. And then quick paste, which will go into a experience where you can actually fill out a Google Sheet template and upload that into Peek in case you have a lot of assets within a certain account. So this account already has a few assets added in. And so what I would like to actually show you on this demo account is what it actually looks like to have a synced account. So in this example, we do have a robo-advisor called Wealthfront, which is commonly invested by US customers who are based in Singapore but still invest back home. And Wealthfront has a few different ETFs, mutual funds, etc., that you would actually invest in. So this user will actually not have to manually update quantities every single time there's a change in the Wealthfront portfolio, which can be a bit of a hassle because, again, robo-advisors rebalance periodically in an automatic way. All the user has to do is actually click sync, and that data should refresh if there are any changes between the last refresh and the current one. Now, the next piece that I want to show you within the Peek app is actually the right-hand panel that will come up when you want to look deeper into specific holdings. So what I'm actually going to show you is what it looks like for Alphabet or Google stock. So if we press open here, this will actually bring out a right panel where you can actually go into more details around this exact holding. So you can see not only the quantity, the total percentage of the portfolio, and the value of the holdings, you can actually see the overall performance for the stock as well, both in terms of simple return, which is the return since the day that you enter the asset into Peek, as well as annualized return, which will actually then standardize this over a 12-month period. And then you can also see the benchmarking of Google compared to the S&P 500, which is essentially the market. So as you can see, Google actually has beaten the market almost 2 times, within the last year or so. Now, you can actually look at this across a 3-month, 1 month, 1 week time period if you wish to do so. And then the last thing I'll show you on the right-hand panel, which is the performance deep dive on Google, is actually the recent actions on a transaction basis, so you can actually see, what actually changed within the holding. So sometimes there are changes that are based on the price movements of the stock, but in this particular case, the movement was actually based on the user actually selling a certain percentage of their holdings of Google and actually basically reallocating that money into a different part of their portfolio. So this is the right-hand panel. Now, some of our customers may be in different parts of the world where they want to actually see, or they're from different parts of the world and want to see their account according to different currencies. So this is actually a currency view that you can jump into. So for this particular user, they have assets both in Singapore dollar as well as in USD. We do have support for many different currencies, including INR, Euro, etc. So if you do have assets that have different base currency, then let's say some of your investments, then you can actually use this currency tab to see what your exposure is within different currencies. Account will then allow you to see things from an account point of view. So sometimes you may have accounts that have different asset types. So for instance, you can have within your brokerages both bonds as well as equities. And so you may want to see what you have within one account across all those different asset types. And then tags are also interesting ways to organize your data as well within Peek. So you can actually create tags. Let me actually show you how that looks. You can actually create custom tags yourself to organize data in a way that makes sense for you. So in this case, this user wanted to tag cash to their different checking and savings accounts. And then for their retirement accounts, some of them have mostly ETFs, so they wanted to tag this as ETF. So this is all done within the table view, and then if you then go to the tag page, you can actually view this based on the custom tags that you created. Last thing to show on this page before moving on is the table versus chart view. So everything here is based on a spreadsheet view that looks very similar to what you would have normally in Microsoft Excel or in Google Sheets. If you click chart, then you actually can see how your allocation out of 100% actually changes. Now for this user, not much has changed within the last couple weeks or days, but if there is any major changes or reallocations of the person's portfolio, that's something that this chart can display for them. So this is the portfolio page. The next experience that I want to show you within Peek is actually our pub or publications page. Now, Peek Pub is an open source community driven project as part of Peek, which has a bunch of different resources that you can use to kind of extend on what you are already doing within your core Peek experience. So the very first part of it is called Playground, or our collection of mini apps. All of these are built first party right now, but we do plan on rolling out some third party ones as well in collaboration with different people. Essentially, these are calculators that you can use for specific use cases, from renting versus buying property to calculating your fire number, all the way to actually simulating different portfolios that you may want to consider kind of rebalancing in. So these are all open source apps, so you can actually look into the GitHub and see the underlying code. We're always welcoming feedback, right, around how we can improve these tools, or we can collaborate with different people who have ideas. The next part of the pub page is Peekpedia. This is essentially our Peek's version of a Wikipedia, which will have a few different resources on different aspects of personal finance. So sometimes it will be almost like a glossary definition page, which will go through what private market investing is or what angel investing is. Other times it will go into some of the more, practical how-tos around, let's say, portfolio allocation. Basically, most people want to think about, allocation as a percentage of their overall portfolio. What are different ways to think about distribution of investments? Now, the final one is called PeekTube, and these are the videos that we have on our official Peek YouTube channel. So if you are somebody who likes a more audio-visual experience in consuming content, that is the purpose of our PeekTube portion of the pub page. So this is the overall experience for Peek version 2 right now. We have a bunch of stuff coming up that we're pretty excited to share over the next couple of weeks. You will actually see all of these different tabs on the left-hand side. I'll walk through what each of them, sort of mean. The Peek page will essentially be like your Facebook newsfeed page that will have prompts as well as news updates or changes in your portfolio that you may want to know about. So think of that as basically a news update page or a general update page for your entire Peek experience. Then we're going to have our performance page, which will dive more into the profit and loss of your assets or investments. So right now, you won't see as much of that on the portfolio page because that is more of a snapshot balance sheet view. But the performance page will then actually show you within your overall portfolio as well as individual holdings, what percentage gain or losses you have had, so you can make decisions around what you potentially might want to do with them. Plan is more of our projections page, which will help you figure out with your information, financial data, what are some scenarios you may want to think through. So a common one would be thinking through your fire number. And then progress will then be the page where we'll have a couple of different gamification elements that you can kind of earn along the way as you do different things within Peek. This is a complete walkthrough of version 2 and what's to come next for Peek. We're very excited to bring you along for our journey.